What's up, everybody? We are on episode 13 live today. We are moving so quickly, I feel like, with this show. I feel like I say that every time, but it's just crazy that this show has over 45 people that have wanted to interview on here with me. I feel so honored. I just wanted to say a quick thank you to everyone that has been following along and does watch the show regularly. I do appreciate you guys. So let's get into it. Welcome to the Hustle and Grow Show. I say this every time, you guys. This is the ultimate podcast for ambitious individuals who are ready to supercharge their personal and professional growth. And this can be whether you're just now starting out, or you're a budding creative, or someone looking to just level up in life. This podcast is your one-stop destination for inspiration, insights, and actionable strategies to help you thrive in today's fast-paced world of business. I am your host and fellow entrepreneur, Alexis Talent. I am the owner of the Sure Future Insurance. You can see it on my shirt, you can see it on the screen. And a little bit of background of what I do. I help individuals, families, business owners, really anyone looking for health coverage or to cut costs. I'm your go-to person for that. I'm an independent agent. So if you have any questions or know anyone that needs help, send them my way. And just a quick reminder before we jump into everything, please remember to click the link in the description of this live to give StreamYard access to you so you can see your name pop up on the screen whenever you comment like this. Let's go, JC. Thanks for the comment. So we always start the show with a Tuesday tip, and I feel like I say this a lot. And my Tuesday tip is just another reminder how important it is to be social on social media in order to be seen. A lot of people believe that going into a Facebook group and dropping your ad or dropping your name is going to be the best kept secret on utilizing social media. Realistically, the more you're commenting, the more you're liking, the more you're talking to people on social media is how people are going to remember you. And you want your name to be the first person they think of when they need your service. So be social. Today's guest is Nickolas Clark, and we're going to go ahead and bring him on right now. Hello, Nickolas.
Alexis, good morning. How are you?
Good. Thanks for being here. How are you?
I am fabulous. I really thoroughly appreciate the invitation and the opportunity.
Absolutely. I am thrilled to have so many people interested to talk to me on the show. So thank you. Just to kind of start out with everybody here who is watching, will you go ahead and give us your 30,000-foot overview of who you are and your Tuesday tip?
Absolutely. So Nickolas Clark has been, I've been in professional sales for 24 years. I began 7 years in the gym industry, and 17 states later, it took me into the cleaning industry for a decade, helping people start their own cleaning business internationally. After that, it was 3 years with American Express and their only cold calling outbound channel in that global company. After that, I was with Paychex, learning the human resources during the global pandemic. And currently, I am Payroll Territory Manager and small business owner with Heartland, who is the fourth largest payroll provider in the US. So in kind of a 30,000 square foot overview, Alexis, that is what I'm doing, but just thoroughly enjoy helping entrepreneurs after doing it now for 24 years.
Wow, I love that. That's something I kind of want to aspire to do one day. I always say I imagine myself like standing on a stage mentoring people and other entrepreneurs. So I'm sure you have some experience in doing that as well, right?
I really thoroughly appreciate just the life of entrepreneurship. It's the life of faith. And faith to me is something that sometimes we know we do, and sometimes we don't even realize it. When we stop at that red light in our vehicle, we've got faith in the brakes that they're going to allow us to stop in the car. As entrepreneurs, though, all day long, we're making decisions in faith, and faith is always risk. And to me, just the small business owner in today's economic conditions, I've got a great amount of respect for, because as they're providing for their spouses or their families in these changing economic times, if I can come in and take them alongside, give them some counsel, perhaps help them with some services, and really just encourage them to me, that is really gratifying to do in this day and age.
I love that. So I think your role now at Heartland. So are you more of like a mentor, or do you guys provide actual services like bookkeeping to keep people on track? Like what does it entail?
Yeah, that's a great question, Alexis. So I primarily partner with any size business in all 50 states, any industry type, and any W-2 employee count. And it's with their payroll services. So I'll be able to help them with their payroll processing. Heartland does that. But it gets better because we can do a 360 integration to where we can also do their onboarding paperwork for their new employees electronically.
Wow.
We can help them with hiring, which right now is one of the predominant problems that I'm talking through on the 30 or 40 virtual meetings a week I'm having with owners across the country. So we can assist with hiring by doing their job board hirings. We also have a way to keep track of their time and attendance with their employees. And most importantly, we have human resources where we can help them be compliant within their state and within the country, but also just give them that wise counsel from an HR certified standpoint on any kind of questions when it involves hiring to firing an employee or hiring to retiring an employee. So basically everything payroll plus is what we offer.
Wow. So you guys are kind of like a safety net for the business, I guess, right? That's what it sounds like to me. You know, in the world of health insurance, as an agent, I've heard of paychecks, and I was wondering, does that tie in with health insurance as well? Like you guys offer them their employees coverage, or?
I'm glad you brought that up because coming from Paychecks internally, they had their own insurance agency. So if I were to refer one of my clients, I had to refer them internally. Now, Heartland is very organic. So though I'm a W-2 employee of Heartland, I own my book of business. I own my portfolio of clients. So I've got a vested interest, not just to transact a relationship, shake a hand, and then in a couple of months, see you later. I've got a vested interest to look at the relationship long term. So with Heartland, I've got the flexibility, Alexis, to be able to refer out to some of my trusted partners in my center of influence, such as someone like yourself with insurance. And that way they can get sometimes the best type of setup, but oftentimes for me, it's not so much the service or industry I'm referring them to, it's the person supporting them behind that.
Right. So, I mean, walk it through, like, what is your typical referral partner to help your book of business, and in turn, the next business owner and the next business owner? How does that work for you?
Yeah, so I certainly have a sort of line item of discovery questions I love to ask each and every meeting. Again, whether it's a large Subway franchise that I just have worked with and taken into Heartland now, or even Boston market, all the way to the 10 employee under groups. So in some of my discovery questions, they go beyond just the payroll services. They may go into medical, dental, and vision, what do benefits look like. They may go into retirement accounts, given that right now, 46 out of 50 states either require owners or have it in state legislation to require owners to be offering 401ks. So I'll go beyond that into really the employee culture, if you will. How can a small business owner provide a reason for an employee to want to come aboard there, to recruit them, and then want to stay there, retain them? So I ask a lot of service questions that are outside of what Heartland can offer, but could be complementary within my center of influence, within my network.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that. I always like to figure out how I can best help as well and plug people in the best. You know, that's one of the main reasons I started the group, the Hustle Hub, which was a place for business owners. It's why I do the show. I don't charge people to do the show. You know, I'm here to be a resource for people as well. So I always like to ask everyone how I can help. So we'll make sure.
It's really impressive that 45 business owners have came on to this podcast or signed up to do this. I mean, interview number 13 is today, which is breakthrough. I'm excited about that. And what a cool thing that you began, Alexis, where it's just a safe online environment, a community to support entrepreneurs in manifold ways. Because again, like I mentioned a few moments ago, entrepreneurship is tough. It's the life of faith. Faith involves risk, and you will have mountaintops, you'll have valleys, you'll be in prosperity and adversity. So how do you keep that that moderate attitude mindset as you're navigating through seasons that are ups and downs. And this is the place for it. Your podcast and your social media online.
Thank you. I didn't know how to really start sales. I mean, you have an impressive background in this sales realm. I used to be a teacher. So I started all of this 5 months ago. And I started insurance 5 months ago, and I did not know where to start. And so I was like, if I don't know what to do as an entrepreneur, let me find as many people as I can that want to be my friend, that want to help. And that's exactly what we did with this community. And, you know, we're pushing it out into the community service that we're doing as well now. It's not always networking events. We were able to, I don't know if you saw on the group, but we were able to do Operation Christmas Child as a group this year.
Yeah.
And we 25 boxes and hoping to do a blanket and coat drive for the homeless community. So it's really more so about support, whether you, I mean, obviously for entrepreneurs, of course, but supporting people is what our world is lacking right now. So if we can bring back to the business and help, but then also help others, that's my main dream with this.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, Alexis, because you being so young as an entrepreneur, or really even in sales, I mean, some of the principles you're launching out and operating on are near and dear to my heart, such as whatever a man or woman sows, that he or she will also reap. So sowing into a community, a client, other entrepreneurs first before you expect to reap, that's contrary to really how the normal worldly salesperson does business. Hey, let me go ahead and receive and reap first. But for you to want to sow first, then reap, that is super, super the correct principle. And then also too, when you gave your tip a few moments ago, just to go on social media and to be social. Sometimes the formalities, and for me, I'm strong on process. I love to have the process, A to Z, and every step in between. Nickolas Clark's your man. But you had mentioned something of as far as just being social on social media, like talk, film a video, say an or an and, make a mistake. You're human. And really humans buy from humans, even though we're heading to a more of an artificial intelligence type of a sales process, humans still buy from humans.
Absolutely. I think they just have like a bit of a misunderstanding with social media. And I'm not saying I'm an expert by any means or crack this code, but I have found that, you know, Facebook, their algorithm works a little bit different than Instagram and TikTok. I have not been able to crack those codes at all, but Facebook is my go-to. I love the people that interact with me here. It just seems more genuine than any other platform. So I've spent a lot of time researching on it and trying to spread the word to people. If you're an entrepreneur, here's this, this, and this that you can do on your social media today and be seen. And I really want to try to implement more strategies for people utilizing Facebook groups, because obviously people are in tons of Facebook groups. I'm in tons of Facebook groups. Do I utilize all of them? No. But is it nice to have one group that you can actually rely on that's going to refer you out? Absolutely. And the only way to do that is to make connections. And the only way to make connections is to talk to people. And it's not like you have to go slide in their DMs. Just be like, hey, man, keep up the great work. I love what you're doing with your business, or sharing somebody's post, inviting people to like their page. Those are all things that you can do that are going to benefit you back in return, because they're going to know, man, this person's really helping me out, you know? And I think it gets overlooked.
Yeah. And you're keeping it simple. I love that about you, Alexis, as I'm getting to know you here on this interview. And I mean, it's more blessed to give than to receive. So as you're making an online presence, because for me, I'm old school, and old school now is a phone call, a handshake, and a virtual meeting. Because new school now is the online social media presences, the text message, the video text, those types of things. I'm not adverse to that. I'm just embracing learning how to get good at that. I'm not good yet. I'm just like you, I'm just learning. But as far as the social media goes, it's repetition. It's just seeing consistently a person on there and then almost building yourself a brand. When I was at American Express, they had really taught well, what's your brand reputation or brand recognition? And I'm thinking to myself, well, I'm a human being. Well, the brand is American Express, but they were right. in a corporate environment or a business environment or now a social media environment, it's your brand recognition, and a good name is to be chosen rather than great riches, loving favor rather than silver and gold, one of my favorite proverbs. So it's great that you bring that up.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like branding is so important. I've had people go back and forth with me and basically tell me I need to brand my name and just do some umbrellas because I've got so many things going on and I'm still trying to figure out how exactly I want that to work. But because all of this is new to me, right? So LLCs and branding, I'm like, this is scary. Like, what if I'm not an entrepreneur anymore? And they're like, shut up, that's not happening. You're gonna keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, one of my favorite things, and actually what is going to be launching out in 2024, is I'm going to be doing a faith-based business curriculum teaching, many teachings that are geared towards the entrepreneur business owner. And how do you start? Like, what's the logical starting with A and then B, C, and D? And then how do I get to Z where I'm a branded, perhaps even publicly traded, successful, profitable business? I'm going to be doing some launching of that because just where my heart's desire is as I've made mistakes and have been given mentors and have had my share of successes and failures in business, like how can I bring that back to somebody else and then start them out? And really where I got infected with that, if you will, was at my time at the Master's Touch, which was that 10 years in cleaning, where I was able to internationally bring clients in with the company. And really, I was one of the trainers, but just talk to business owners from all walks of life. It was super encouraging. But to kind of your point there, just how does the entrepreneur, like there's no blueprint from A to Z, and we're going to start to do that.
I love that. I love that. And I've seen that, ebooks and online webinars are becoming very popular in today's society and social media culture. That's something I've always wanted to do as well. So maybe in the future we can collaborate on something and do some social media marketing. I got a good girl, Madison. She's a virtual assistant. She and I were talking about it. I think that would be something we could do together too, which would be cool.
I would love it. I'll give you a virtual fist bump for that to be in agreement. I think that's sometimes when I've been married now coming up on 16 years. And at the beginning of my marriage, I would try to have my strengths become my wife's strengths. And it was never the case. We're meant to complement each other and not compete. So now I've embraced that where I'm weak, she's got strengths and characters where she's strong, but same thing in business where I may be not knowledgeable. Let's bring in another person like yourself, a professional, because two is better than one.
Absolutely. I think I said that on the last episode. I think more than one mind is always going to be more powerful because not everyone thinks the same. Not even if we're in the same industry, even if we're considered competitors, right? I don't see myself competing with people because I've said it on Facebook. I want to see other people eat too. If you got a better idea and you want to work together and collaborate and we can share in our endeavors, why not? I don't like that whole.
Yeah, whenever. Totally agree. Whenever I've been led into a different corporation and made a career trajectory change, I've always, before I've entered into that corporation, hey, let me interview your 3 top performers. And let me get not so much their process, although that's important, but what are their characteristics that make them a long-term top performer? So my point to all that is no matter how successful a business can get or can be, that CEO or that owner operator to have that teachable, shapeable heart is so critical because I've never learned everything where I've got it all figured out. Let me continue at 24 years in business still to put my ear to someone like yourself or somebody as a guest on your show or on your site. And how can I continue to learn and grow?
Absolutely. I learn something new every day. And coming from a teacher mentality, I never stopped learning. I never had to stop learning when I was a teacher. We were always doing some new training. It keeps you going, it keeps you motivated, but also it helps you in your weaknesses and it strengthens your strengths already. So there's no harm in learning more.
Well, it challenges you, and kind of your first question that you posed to me, aside from the 30,000 foot introduction, is my tip of this podcast would be to remain challenged. And how do you remain challenged? For me, I memorize. So I memorize different verses from the Bible. And it could be different memorizations, but my point to all that is it keeps my brain sharp. It has my central nervous system and all my brain patterns It keeps them being activated to where if I'm in business and it's a tough transaction I'm trying to figure out, it's a large account and a tough contract to interpret, or just learning some new knowledge in this digital world where things are coming at you 90 miles an hour from a text to an email to a phone call. If my brain has been memorized and meditating from the morning before, it's sharp to receive that information. So my tip of the day for entrepreneurs would be just to develop the habit of memorizing and meditating before your business workday.
Yeah, absolutely. I still struggle with that. I do. I'm not gonna lie to you. My kids, I have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, and the mornings are tough. And I should be getting up before them, right? And getting my day started. But I feel like ever since I started my entrepreneurship, I can't sleep. Like I have so many ideas and I honestly have so many things going on that I'm just constantly like, I feel like I'm in like the overdrive mode all the time.
Yeah.
So I know that that's essential to getting your mindset right. But how would you, or what advice would you give to someone kind of like in my shoes, where I just feel like there's not enough hours in the day? I'm not being productive, even though I am, but I feel like I'm not. Just because I have so much going on, I'm juggling so much, like so many ideas. I mean, what advice do you have for someone to not have burnout, really?
That's a great question. I literally, Alexis, had this conversation last night with my wife, Michelle. She's like, babe, I need your help on this, and this. And I'm like, hey, no problem. After a 10-hour day with a multiple amount of appointments, my brain is kind of fried. But I was quick and I'm like, hey, hon, you have lots of responsibilities and ideas. Write them down. Write the vision. And as you accomplish them in the right timing, you can be able to have sort of that initial piece from the anxiety of, hey, here's all 30 things, the ideas to your point, or responsibilities or the to-do list, journal them, write them down, and then prioritize them. What's the top one? What's the top 5? And then knock those out first. And then you've journaled the other ones, so you don't forget, but you know that in the distant future, maybe this week or next week, the remaining tasks can be complicated or completed second and third.
I love that. I've been actually wanting to do like a vision board networking event, and this kind of gave me more of an idea just now having this conversation. I think that would be something super essential because just writing it down, I think we forget a lot of times because we are moving so fast. But if you take 2 seconds to just put your thoughts on paper or put them on your notes on your phone, I think that that's great advice. And I think I might use that and make an event out of it because that would be cool. I would like to see everybody put their goals and aspirations on paper.
Yeah, I mean, I do a daily vision of my meetings and my responsibilities for the day. I mean, I'm not against computers. I have my schedule on Google Meets, but I write it down daily. I write down my vision for the month of what I'm believing for as far as the business goes. I even write one for the year coming up here in January. So for me, I'm like you. It's like I've got a lot of ideas. I'm believing them to be done. And if I could do them all in one day and conquer them, I would, but I can't. So instead of being stressed out that we can't conquer them in one day, write them down and then kind of slowly and peacefully, all right, what's priority to then believe and then to walk through?
Absolutely, absolutely. I have just a couple more questions. We're about to hit our 30-minute mark. I'm not going to take too much of your time or our viewers. But I know we've talked a little bit about motivation. We've talked about Tuesday tips. Now we got to get into the little saucy part. So any like failures that you've hit along the way, what did happen and what did you do to overcome it?
Yeah, those are great questions. So fortunately, I tend to learn my best lessons when I've made a mistake or lost a client. I'll put it out there, lost a client, lost a sale. And for me, what I like to do is anytime there is friction in a sales process, I like to immediately own up to it. Hey, you know what? That is correct. Let me see how I can make this right, and just come alongside the client with an arm around them, if you will, in the speaking realm or on the virtual realm, and then go and see how I can do it. The last thing I've learned over the years is try to take a stance where it's myself versus a client, and then, well, here's where you're wrong or here's where I'm wrong. I just like to take the ownership and then go behind the scenes, get with my management team or whoever is appropriate and figure out a solution. So I like to be very solution-based instead of when problems arise in a sales process, because not if, but when they're going to, instead of having it be a contention point, if that makes sense.
No, absolutely. And I agree, honestly. I feel like when I've hit a brick wall or when I was first starting out, I didn't know anything about health insurance at all. I had to learn everything. And I definitely realized along the way how easy it is to make a mistake in sales and lose that sale, right? And it all comes back on me. So I would sit there and be like, what did I do wrong? How can I not have this happen again? And I'm not even kidding. I would go as far as recording myself on video, making sure I said everything correctly, and just practicing calls with people in the office, practicing calls with my family members. I feel like the only way to avoid those same mistakes is to target what they were and fix it as best as you can.
Yeah, and oftentimes, even if you're just, and when we have this podcast number 200 and we're talking again in 2 or 3 years and you've been now in this industry that long, sometimes people are fresh when you and I say, I don't know the answer to that question. Let me get back to you. Sometimes there's power in, I don't have every single answer. I'm not the most smoothest person. I'm a human too. And oftentimes too, I'll have like a second person shadow my meetings, especially if they're larger ones. I'll have my division manager hop on. I can run the meeting from start to finish, but sometimes it's just helpful having that second voice listening to you, a second person around there as a second witness to answer questions, maybe the same way you'd say it, but in their unique perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to wrap up here, but I do want to give you the opportunity to tell our viewers what would best help support you. And if someone is looking for your services, how can they set up a meeting with you? How can we help you in your business as well?
So cool. Thank you so much for the opportunity, Alexis. So as Payroll Territory Manager of Heartland, I turn payroll costs of any size business into a profit center. I do that through 7 very lucrative business tax credits. So really any ideal client for me would be any size business that has W-2 employees. It can be in any industry type, any state, and there is a universal tax credit for newly hired employees that can oftentimes equal and exceed my payroll invoice for Heartland. So at Heartland, I make payroll for profit. And the easiest way to get a hold of me is either by phone. My direct cell phone, which I use for business, is the number 602-761-8615, and or via email. It's Nickolas.Clark@heartland.us, but it's a special spelling, I guess. It's Nickolas.Clark@heartland.us. I also have a LinkedIn and a Facebook presence through Nickolas T for Thomas Clark, with Heartland as Payroll Territory Manager.
Perfect. I was typing, so I was listening, I swear.
Way to multitask.
I'm not the best multitasker by any means. And I will say our loyal companions here, JC, he's an admin in our group, Kara as well. They did go ahead and comment your Facebook page and your LinkedIn for you. But once again, to our viewers, if you're looking to have a conversation with Mr. Nickolas Clark of Heartland, his number is 602-761-8615. And you can see his email address scrolling along the bottom. Don't worry if you're not watching it live. This will be on YouTube. It is all recorded, so you can find it there. And if you need to, I will drop all of his information in the comments as well as on the description on YouTube. So if you guys want to help support our show, oh my gosh, I almost died. If you guys want to help support the show and support our endeavors with the Hustle Hub, please reach out, share to your friends on YouTube. You can't share this live out of our Facebook group because we're private, but you can go to my YouTube channel, hustle_hub_DFW, and you can subscribe to our channel and share from there and support us. So that's the show. Thank you, Nickolas.
Thanks, Alexis. Thank you, viewers. I really appreciate it. I look forward to working with you in the future. Have a blessed day.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to keep you on after we end off here.
Okay.
Bye, everybody.